Hi, everyone. This is Alex here with Cloud Security Alliance, Top Cloud Threats Research Work Group. Good morning, evening, afternoon to everyone joining us. Welcome to the Research Summit 2023. Extremely excited to kick off this virtual event where you will get to hear the best of cloud security leaders presenting their talks, presenting their research, and sharing their top of mind on cloud security. I hope these talks today will stimulate your curiosity and get you underway to learn and participate. I'm Alex, your co-chair for the Top Cloud Threats Research Work Group, CISO with RiseUp, cloud security enthusiast and author of Cloud Penetration Testing Playbooks and other works by the CSA organization and Top Cloud Threats Research. In this keynote, I will share my take on cloud security developments in the industry as a foundation of cloud security programs, reflect on some recent developments, and most importantly, share a few spoilers from the latest research. If you're new to CSA, the Cloud Security Alliance, I like to think that CSA is the world's leading organization dedicated to defining and raising awareness of best practices to help ensure secure cloud computing environments. You will know CSA from such works as the CCSK Cloud Security Knowledge Certificate, the CSA Security Trust and Assurance Registry, Cloud Control Matrix, and other works. Awesome to be here, super excited, and let me tell you more about what we are here to do. So story time, kick back to 2019, trust is high. We've not heard of COVID or any other pandemics. We're still handling cloud security leaks and misconfigurations. We're well ahead of the initial threats with cloud security, and cloud security is a skill set you will see in every job posting. Cloud security is really doing well, and so are cloud service providers, vendors, innovators. Then come the travel years, 2020, 2023, and we're still through it today. We've had COVID, we've had impeachments, we've had Brexits, riots, major cloud security, cloud service provider vulnerabilities, such as the Cosmos DB, bad bill, privilege escalation with GCP. We've had confused deputy vulnerability in AWS AppSync, and we've had the latest and concerning Microsoft Cloud email compromise by a nation-state funded APT, leading to the breach of US government communications, inclusive of that of a commerce secretary. Really, really huge stuff in the last few years, but a lot of strain, a lot of issue with putting trust in your chain of supply, in your technologies, in your partners, and also put a halt on a lot of innovation and a lot of businesses to be conducted. On the bright side, coming out, and I really am enthusiastic about 2024 as we get closer to that new year and hopefully a new beginning for a lot of technologies, a lot of organizations, and everyone in general. We hope to see a lot of accountability by cloud service providers. We are seeing more stability in financial markets. We're seeing a lot more cloud everywhere. And of course, such as disruptors as AI and workload technologies in the market. What else? I'm truly excited for 2024, and I think a lot more cloud will do a lot more good for everyone. We're here to make that safer. I'm also hoping to see a lot more investors regain trust in the market, so we can see innovators build more cloud security tools, a lot more cloud service providers build a lot more products so that we can leverage and build cool stuff. And as we see more cloud everywhere, we really see that transformation, cloud security, from a part of your security program to a foundation or a critical component to it. We can see how standards today, such as the ISO, adopt and develop to account for cloud being paramount to organizations. For instance, controls have been switched out from legacy and physical controls to cloud controls, such as the A523 information security for the use of cloud services. We also see threat intelligence and data controls introduced in new standards today. Really, really great time to invest in cloud security and data security in the cloud. We're seeing research from PwC and other consultancies coming in, speaking about cybersecurity outlooks this year and the next. For instance, 39% of UK senior executives say that they expect cloud-based threat vectors to significantly affect their organization in 2023, more so compared than to 2022, and also more so than other threats. So one of the changes in the recent years that we've seen is that fiscal threats, instabilities, work from home, pandemics, and other threat actors and vectors took over cybersecurity as number one. Of course, threats aren't good, and we're looking to reduce risk. However, cybersecurity is top of mind again for executives, and cloud security is top of mind within cybersecurity for executives. And that really puts cloud security in the foundation of programs. And finally, what I like seeing most perhaps is that innovation focuses on cloud security. One of the signals I see from the industry towards that is the 4 top endpoint protection and network vendors creating their own cloud security solutions in the market today. So even endpoint solutions and even network security vendors focusing on cloud is really a signal how cloud security is becoming more of a foundational consideration in your cybersecurity program than it was before. And that brings us to top cloud threats. Now, for context, a bit more than a year ago, the Cloud Security Research Workgroup published the top threats to cloud computing, the Pandemic 11. And that highlighted such threats as identity, such issues as insecure interfaces and APIs, misconfigurations, and other changes in threats and security considerations as the new and top of mind for our survey respondents. We've seen identity in the sense of insufficient identity credentials, access, key management, and privileged accounts management reach concern number 1 from its spot from number 2 from years prior. We've seen insecure interfaces and APIs as a security concern dominate the second spot among survey respondents. And we've seen concern for metastructure failure, for denial of service, and other more cloud service provider oriented threats and concerns take a step down from top of mind. Furthermore, we've seen such developments and maturity of the industry as to perceive that data breaches not only aren't concern number 1, even though they are common, but also to be broken down into misconfiguration, accidental disclosure, and cloud storage data exfiltration in number 11. So the industry has come to mature and understand that a cloud breach can be exfiltration, but a cloud breach can also be accidental disclosure, which is by far more common, and how dealing with those threats and concerns will most likely involve configuration and change management, and those are 3 separate things to handle. That leads us to the top cloud threats research work group, which I lead with Michael Rosa and Joel Michael. We've worked on the cloud breach cases study to be released soon over the past year, and I'm going to tell you more about that exciting work. Just a bit about the research work group. We are 15 core members strong, 50 volunteers, and we benefit from the support of hundreds and thousands of survey respondents who are industry experts, but also cloud enthusiasts, vendors, professional associations, government contributors, and others who take part in our research. We're with the Cloud Security Alliance, of course, and we're here to help organize knowledge about cloud security and practices about securing cloud services and networks to benefit builders, protectors, vendors, and others. Our research is curated by subject matter experts who volunteer for a working group, and there are different such working groups with CSA. There are working groups related to DevSecOps, serverless, and more. And we have been working to publish cloud security resources aimed to help by focusing on threats, concerns, risks, and mitigations relating to cloud security. That brings us to this year, 2023, where we've published the Pandemic 11 with this esteemed list of peers. So we've been working with Michael Brooks, our lead authors, from CEOs to consultants to builders to innovators to architects and cloud users to understand what are the leading cloud threats in the industry today. And that study produced the insights such as identity being the new perimeter to the perception of cloud users today, and others such as API security being paramount in cloud security. since we focused on the latest research being cloud breach cases, and I'm going to share just a few takeaways from that study, and you can hopefully pick up the research in the coming weeks from CSA, from the website or elsewhere, and take a closer look at everything we have in there. But what do we have? What do we have in the research that you will soon get in your hands? We have analysis of top cloud breach cases analyzed and threat modeled about Okta 2022, the breach of Dropbox in 2022, the breach of the US Department of Defense in 2023, and 5 more cloud breach cases. We encourage security practitioners and technology leaders to use the breach case studies and insights to start their own internal analysis, comparisons, and discussions. Readers should draw on similarities from the threats, controls, considerations to improve and prepare in their own cloud security incident response or cloud security resilience efforts. In addition to the threat models, the longer form narratives in the research paper will provide additional context, such as how the incident came to pass, how it should be dealt with when it comes to pass. And then we elaborate on expected outcomes and possibilities where details such as impact or mitigations were not publicly discussed. Our research is based on public sources and analysis of our own expert members of those public sources. Some of those sources are the breached organizations themselves, and some are secondary coverage of those breach cases or interviews. Our analysis produced observations on the prevalence of modern cloud security gaps, the growing impact of identity and supply chain on cloud security, the changing profile of threat actors targeting cloud services. Most importantly, what key takeaways cloud users, builders, and defenders can take to practice to further their resilience. And I'm going to share just a bit of that with you in a second. The group observed how the recurring theme of insufficient identity, credentials, access, and key management with breach companies continues across the different cloud breach cases, with Okta, with Dropbox, and with other breached organizations in the latest years. Identity has proved the most difficult asset or component to control. It is often proved lacking where threat actors targeted these organizations, or it proved provide the most opportunity for improvement with these organizations when conducting lessons learned from these breach cases. Secondly, we've noticed how the growing contribution of unsecured third-party resources, supply chain vendors, and components of software to different cloud breach cases, how paramount the chain of supply becomes in cloud security. We've noticed that in many cases of the cloud breach cases, there was a contractor, a vendor, a software component that were external or complementary to the staff and technologies of the organization that led to compromise or led to exposure that were exploited in the cloud breach. Secondly, thirdly, the cloud storage data exfiltration as an impact is found to be most likely among outcomes across the many cloud breach cases, meaning that in almost every cloud breach case, whatever the original intent of the attacker or whatever the impact was from an error, cloud breach data exfiltration was also an outcome, also occurred, also took place. And that underscores the importance of cloud data security protection, privacy in the cloud, and more. It's important to note that cloud breach cases covered in this publication are partial to the bigger picture. For instance, accidental cloud breach, accidental cloud data disclosure is still quite common in the industry today. Yet this group chose to analyze and write about other breach case studies, partly out of interest in actionable insights, available coverage of sources, the profile of the breach, and attribution. While a single gap can be enough for a breach to occur, most covered breach cases are affected by 4 or more major top threats to cloud computing concerns. So we've seen how identity, APIs, misconfigurations, architecture, and other cloud security concerns today that are top of mind can manifest in many breach cases and can manifest all at once. We've seen that at least 4 take place in every organization and every breach that have been covered. meaning there are many opportunities for improvement, of course, in the mission to make cloud organizations safer. Finally, and on a concerning note, we observed the growing involvement of organized crime, hackers, and advanced persistent threats in prominent cloud breach cases resulting from targeting, abuse, and leverage of cloud services and systems. So hackers are becoming more organized, better funded, and more intently motivated to act in unison against organizations, governments, and even whole societies. And that is concerning indeed. As cloud threat actors grow in their capabilities, so must defenders. Across the different cloud breach cases, we've noticed that there are several things you can do to make yourself safer. There were baseline controls applicable, there were chain of supply considerations to take, and there were designs and improvement methodologies that we saw that could be helpful and beneficial across cloud breach cases. We've noticed how baseline identity controls such as multi-factor authentication, role-based segregation of duties across cloud resources, and privileged access management with great care could have contributed to the resilience of many of the organizations we've analyzed the breaches of. We've noticed how identifying, assessing, and protecting against supply chain failures impacting cloud services across technology, open source components, contractors, and vendors is relevant across organizations and across cloud breaches. And finally, we noted that designing cloud architecture and security, assuming human error and persistent threat actors working against cloud resilience would be effective, and how diligently enacting, auditing, and lessons learned to continually improve is valuable. We've seen different issues recur in the same organizations. We've seen different issues recur across different organizations, highlighting the need for intent design and diligent practice of lessons learned, basically taking a step back, understanding what we're lacking with today, and acting strongly to improve on that. The vulnerabilities, threats, weaknesses, and security concerns otherwise covered in the top threats to cloud computing, the Pandemic 11, manifested almost systematically in recent and impactful cloud breach cases covered in this research. Analyzing the different cloud breach cases, we found recurring themes that could counteract the failures and breaches. With these takeaways, readers can take action today to secure cloud services. And so I encourage everyone to grab a copy of this research and to take a look at the key takeaways across cases, but also specific to different cases. This research working group and our valued contributors hope that cloud providers, protectors, and users will benefit from this analysis and act to inform their teams, security programs, and cloud initiatives against threats and faults that can be found and can cause substantial harm. Readers are asked to consider using the threat models built for each breach case for analysis against your own environment and cases, and refer to the advised takeaways and prescribed controls per case. We hope that you find this work useful and welcome any feedback and your participation in the upcoming publication. Pick up the cloud breach cases at CSA soon, have practical discussions about cloud security, take action, and be safer in the cloud. Please stay tuned for the amazing day of virtual summit talks to come, and let us know if you have any thoughts, questions in the chat, and however you choose to reach us. To your future success and have a great day. Alex from the Top Cloud Threat Research Work Group. Thank you.